Hi guys, welcome back. So today I'm gonna get this prep work going for the interior of my Supra. Now there's a couple of do's and don'ts, but the main don't being don't skip the prep work. So I'm gonna take out the heat insulators from the driver and the passenger side, and I'm going to start cleaning up these floorboards over here, and then probably just separate the cables, and then that way I can get everything ready to get the sound deadening material in there. Well, most of the floorboard is painted, most of it. But once we get under that heat shield right there, it's like so bad. Look at that. Oh, wow. So I actually would not be able to take out this heat shield because then I'd have to undo the gas pedal, the clutch. I'd have to also undo, I believe, wow, even the brake booster. Yeah, because it like goes all the way up the firewall, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. And I'm just gonna put that there to kind of keep it stable, hopefully. Se le cayó el IG1. Ahora lo voy a tener que encontrar. A ver, ¿dónde estás, IG1? ¿Dónde estás? Yeah, the surface still very rough right here. There's still chunks of foam, and this is something we definitely have to get rid of. I'm gonna use my Dremel, but yeah, so this has to be as smooth as possible, and it has to be as clean as possible, so that way the sound deadening can adhere to this, and it can be a very smooth, clean installation. So of course I'm gonna use this little polishing bit from my Dremel because it always works for everything. You can't see, like, it de-chunks it. It's useful to take these little brackets out already, and that way this area can be super clear, like this one too. Okay, now I was trying to figure out how was I gonna get this module out, which is for the SRS, so the airbag system. This is the computer for that system. So the thing is that only 2 bolts came out, and then 2 are completely stripped. And I was, figuring out like what I have, so this can like come out, but I don't have anything for this. And I tried like a couple of different methods. Like I used locking pliers, I used epoxy glue. I even tried cutting it through so I can fit a regular flathead in there and try to get it out, and I just can't. So Orlando's gonna come later and he's gonna bring me those extracting bits so then I can take those out. I'm just gonna leave this here for now, but I did clean off my e-brake because I had like a little bit of rust here. I mean, this is technically gonna be the final step, but for today's focus, since I'm not gonna delay the work, I'm just gonna keep going with prepping the floorboards and getting that material in here. So as I'm letting the other side soak with degreaser, let me just tell you, it really is the most tedious part of the process. Getting all the prep work done, like everything requires prep work. When I did the undercarriage, everything required degreasing, decutting, defoaming, and then the installation of that barrier. For the door panels, the same thing, degreasing, decutting, defoaming, and then the installation of that. Which, by the way, I'm gonna have to undo that because we're gonna put some sound deadening behind that too. So that's gonna be part of today's vlog as well. And then the trunk, the floorboards, same thing. So everything has required dismantling, degreasing, decutting, defoaming, and then the installation part of the process. So it's kind of just part of it. The prep work really is important because without proper prep work, then you'd kind of have to like redo it all over again. And then it's better just to like take the time to just do it all correctly that one time, so you don't have to like keep going back and then just kind of like keep redoing the work, or going over it because you missed a part, or et cetera, because that's just also part of like building a car, and that's what I've experienced too, many times. Especially when I don't have really anything laid out and I'm just kind of like going with the flow. It's just part of the process. You're gonna probably skip a step, so it's always even good to like probably lay things out and label things out, and that's why I've been like super detailed with all of this. But I'm excited because at least getting this done is gonna be one step closer to getting my build on the road and to get me behind the wheel, so that's amazing. Okay, let's get this clean work done. A lot of like that sticky stuff, and I could already see it like just coming down even on this side here. But of course, I'm not gonna focus on that, just focusing on this and on that side. And that way I can also start cleaning up these doors and then take that harness out too. There we go. I'm gonna bring you guys up just a little closer because I'm gonna need this layout later when I put this harness back on the door. Okay, so we have this black clip goes up here, this white clip goes down here. There's these two smaller nubby clips down there. There's this one that goes here, this one that goes there, and then there is this one over here that goes into the far inner side of the door, and then this one goes on the outside of the door, the main connector for the motor. And I think I got it. Okay, got it. Let's go. The interior of the Supra is clean. And look at how that door came out, guys. I think it came out much cleaner than the driver's side door. And I used both degreaser and isopropyl alcohol. I used degreaser first and the isopropyl alcohol after. I noticed that the degreaser was kind of just like moving a lot of like the sludge around. And see, the isopropyl alcohol just cuts through it. When I brought down the subframe for the Supra, I mean, it had a bunch of grease and like this like black tar stuff all over it. So I used those two together as well. And I even boiled hot water and I like poured it all over the subframe just to kind of like cut through that. So that even works well too in some cases, you know, where you have to like deal with that. Now the interior is as well clean from the floorboards. I just kind of clean like the side marks on the inside of the frame. And I mean, this door is already clean, so I just have to take that out and then, you know, of course, just like apply one single sheet. That is something I'm not gonna do in sections. I'm only gonna apply sound deadening in sections in here, and more so just because I don't really have the experience, so I don't even know how it's gonna like mold into like these grooves. That's what I'm kind of nervous about, but hopefully it comes out great. So I'm gonna start cutting the film and we're gonna get this going. Wish me luck. Okay, let's see. So it will go, oh, it's too big. Damn, okay. Okay. Okay, so we're actually gonna have to cut it this piece now. Okay. From here to there, like that. Okay. Okay. Like that. Okay, that's a nice fit. So this is how the first trial run went. Of course, I mean, I expected it was probably not gonna come out that great. I didn't notice that there's still some active grease on the sides. And yeah, so I'm gonna bring out more alcohol. I'm gonna clean that up so it absorbs and it dries out. And instead of applying it in one whole section where it just goes along this area right here, I'm gonna cut it into smaller sections to fit that square, that square, that square, that square, and then I'm gonna see if I still wanna cover like the top part of the frame of the rail. And yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. And I think it'll look a lot better than what it was looking right now, because even as I was rolling it down, this material, it's very thick foam, but it's still thin enough that this was kind of cutting along the sides in here. So maybe this method only really works well for like that aluminum foil that goes on the inside. It's just not gonna like work well for that. But of course, trial and error, and I mean, I still have plenty. Ta-da-da. So this is the result from the driver's side floorboard. Look at that. I don't know, what do you guys think? So I did try something different though. So each side was kind of done a little bit differently. So I have two different sections here. You can see all the sticky stuff under here. So I had two different sections, and then I put one piece here to kind of close off that middle part of the frame right there. I just left this open because, you know, this is what I was trying to do, where I was just wanted to cover like this whole piece, and it was just not gonna work out. So now I did try this section as a whole, and you know, it kind of worked out. I was just gonna risk it and see if it works, and it kind of did. So there are no tears or cuts, and this area kind of looks like it over compressed. I was looking at some pictures of what that would look like, so I just kind of left it there, but I didn't want to keep pressing it in because that probably is going to cause a tear. Everything laid out pretty flat. This side over here also looks pretty good. And then I added like a whole piece that goes all the way up there. Now, that hole there, I know that there's going to be a lot of heat that comes in from that. So I'm going to find something else that I can kind of like shield the outside of it, and then, you know, like cut a hole through it so I can like protect that, because I can't put any of this film like underneath. That is like way too compressed, and then we see like this heat shield goes like from the driver's side all the way to like the passenger side. But that hole is gonna be there. It's gonna stay there, and if you guys watch my last vlog, you guys already know why. That was the last piece, guys. That was the messiest part. It was the firewall on both the driver and the passenger side. It was just so sticky, and it felt like the material wanted to like tear on me because the space is like so tight under there. And like I said, I can't take the heat shield off, so I just had to like make it work. I would rate the job maybe like an 8 out of 10, but it does look pretty good. The material looks nice, but I hope it is effective. And you know, I'll give you guys later a review for that. I was thinking that for the doors, maybe I should just section it off into like 2 big pieces rather than 1 big piece, because I feel like it's just gonna be the same as the firewall. We are gonna do the trunk as well, but the trunk is gonna need some separate prep work. I'm also going to try some different kind of material, so hopefully that works, you know. But I'll explain more in the next vlog. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, stay tuned for more, and don't forget to comment, especially if you have any experience with this and what do you like about this kind of foam sow deadening system. Let me know.